Hello and welcome everybody. My name is Melanie Dizon. I'm the Director of Education and Research at the Davis-Phinney Foundation. And I am here today with Carol Clupny and Marty Acevedo. How are you guys doing?
Great.
Great. Yeah, it's great to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you. I'm excited about this conversation. We are going to talk a lot about camping and camper vans and all the really fun things that you can do when you're out and about in the world and discovering new adventures with Parkinson's and without, of course. First, I'm going to have them introduce themselves. So if you guys can tell me, tell everybody else who you are, where you live, how long you've been living with Parkinson's, and how you got involved with the Davis-Phinney Foundation. So Carol, you want to go first?
Hi, I'm Carol Clupny. I live in Hermiston, Oregon, which is up northeastern part of Oregon. It's very dry here. It's not like the rest of Oregon, which is beautiful and green. I got involved with the Davis-Phinney Foundation through riding in Ragbri. Ragbri is a great bicycle ride across Iowa that occurs every year, and 20,000 people ride on it. But there were some ambassadors for Davis-Phinney on our ride, and they started telling me about the Davis-Phinney Foundation and the programs that were available, and they encouraged me to become an ambassador. So I applied, and I was accepted. I've had Parkinson's for 13 years. That's when I was diagnosed anyway, 13 years ago. I'm sure I had symptoms before then.
Great. All right. Thanks so much, Marty.
I'm Marty Acevedo. I live in Oceanside, California, which is just north of San Diego. Got involved with the Davis-Phinney Foundation 3 years ago. I was looking for some way to advocate and mentor other people with Parkinson's, since that's what I felt my purpose has been since I retired from my career.
Great. All right, so let's talk about Carol, actually, you can see she's in her van right now, her camper van. And let's talk a little bit about how did you get involved in this type of travel? Is this something that you did long before you had Parkinson's, or something you discovered later? Like what brought you to this, Carol?
Well, my husband and I were always campers, and first we started out backpacking and climbing and stuff like that, and so we were on our feet. And then we came across a camper, a pickup camper, and we used that for a while. Then we had a travel trailer for a while, and then we were back to a pickup camper, but it was on a four-wheel drive pickup, and so it was lifted, and getting up and down was starting to get to be a challenge, and my husband wanted me to have something a little bit more movable, I guess, for me to get in and out of and up and down in. And so that's how we came about a camper van. We studied lots of different things, lots of different kinds of camper vans, and this is the one we ended up with.
So how long have you been traveling with the one you have right now?
This will be our third year. Yeah, this is going on our third year.
Okay, great. And Marty, what about you?
So I camped a bit as a Girl Scout, as many of us did. And then in my 20s, we camped in the back of a truck on the beach and that type of thing. And then about 6 or 8 years ago, we got the Beast, which was a 32-foot Class A RV, which was too huge and too big and really silly that we even bought that. So we traded down to another Class A that was 27 feet because we wanted to go to national parks. And then that was still too big. It was hard to store. For many reasons, we decided to go to what my husband originally wanted, which is a travel van. It's 21 feet. It's perfect for us. And we've had that since 2018. So we've been traveling in it for 3 years because we missed last year, of course.
Okay. So your van now, they're both considered Class Bs. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay. And interesting, Marty, if you could tell a little bit about, I know your story, someone sort of told you to get the big one, right? Like you were telling him. So I think this is a good thing to learn if you haven't bitten the bullet and bought something yet, to what happened with your story.
So we knew we wanted to buy some way of traveling in a van, an RV, and we went to a big RV show, and this salesperson said, buy your last one first. So what he meant by that, he showed us this really expensive, huge 38-foot RV that had 2 bathrooms and a dishwasher, a kitchen island and all that. And it looked like a second home. We thought, well, that's nice, but that's not what we want. So we didn't choose that, but then we picked another one out that was used, and we thought it would work for us, but it was just too big. It also had 2 bathrooms, which is silly. Why would you ever need 2 bathrooms? And had a place for, a lot of people to camp with us, because we thought our kids and our grandson would go with us on occasion, and they did, but they had their lives and they wanted to do other things. So it's mostly us traveling by ourselves. So a small, convenient, just all in one type thing is best for us.
Okay. And so yours is how long right now? 21?
21 feet. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what about you, Carol? Did you say?
Ours is 22 feet.
Okay. And they both have bathrooms, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just a toilet, or like the whole, like a shower, or like what?
It's a wet bath. It has like the handheld shower wand, and it has a toilet and a little sink. So.
And a toilet paper cover.
Yeah.
You keep your toilet paper from getting wet. Mine's right behind me here.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are some of the most fun adventures you've had, and what is traveling by camper allowing you to do that you think maybe you wouldn't be doing otherwise?
Well, for us, traveling by this camper van is allowing us to do some stealth kind of camping too. We've camped in like a college parking lot overnight, and at a football game we parked in a grocery store parking lot overnight. We've been able to do some what they call boondocking, which is out in the countryside, finding a place that's not an established campground and just parking there, because we have solar, we have water, we have sewer, we have the things that we need to go. We can probably be out there for about 3 days without having any plug-in resources.
Yeah. What about you, Marty?
So we've gone to in our van, we've visited 31 states, 17 national parks, a number of city parks and state parks and county parks, and camped in those places. We've camped in a Cabela's parking lot.
Yeah.
It's interesting. We've seen so many things we never would have seen, like the largest ketchup bottle in the world, and that's in Illinois. We've seen bison on the road right in front of us, just all different types of things that I wouldn't have seen if we were flying wherever we might have been going. And we take the time to smell the roses, as a way of speaking.
Yeah. So how does traveling by camper kind of help living well with Parkinson's? So you don't have to deal with the stress of an airplane and then getting on the airport and all this different packing, but what are some of the big things that have allowed you to live well by traveling and kind of staying on the road?
Well, for me, I move a lot more. I think when I'm in the camper van, I get in and out of it a lot. We take our bikes along. In fact, we have a little trailer now, a little aluminum trailer I have a recumbent trike, and it rides in there. And so when we get to a spot where we want to go riding, we park our truck and go. So it really helps me that way. I think just being out in the fresh air, and also the socialization that we come across, stopping and asking directions, or where's a good place to camp, or where's a good place to have dinner. Or even if we're in a campground, there's a camaraderie. People walk around through the campgrounds and they look at all the rigs and visit with you about what's this, what kind is this, and where did you get it? And they want to know all of it, and they want to come and see the inside of it and everything, because it is still a little bit different than the big RVs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What you
Having a bathroom convenient is nice. It's just right down the little aisle.
Yeah.
And having my own kitchen, and having all of our own things, sleeping in our own bed every night, having my pillow. I sleep better on the road when we're traveling, just because fresh air, I think, and because we're exercising so much more. It's different exercise than I do at home, because we're hiking and walking a little bit more, and all of that. And as Carol said, the socialization is great, because there's no RVer has met a stranger. Everybody's like one big happy family on the road, and experiencing the different things and different communities, because the different restaurants, the different types of food and different cultures. It's been really, really fun.
Yeah, novelty is so important for our brains, all of our brains, especially people with Parkinson's, is you're getting to learn new things every time you meet someone else, right? Do you always Are you always parked typically in an RV parking lot, or can you also go, I would assume with the Class B, you can also just go to like a regular car camping place, right? Are there any limits with the size of your van that you can't go places?
No,
No,
I think you can park most anywhere. We tend, when we're traveling, because we don't know what a truck cross country, like our next trip, where we were planning to stay mostly in RV parks just because we don't know what we're going to come across. And because of the restrictions with COVID, we're not sure what's open, what's not. But, on other occasions, we'll just kind of go and stop wherever the road takes us.
Mhm.
we've stayed in truck stops. We've parked in rest areas.
So no one ever tries to run off a van. No one, you can't park here.
Um,
um,
there's always that, question if you're going to get a knock on your door in the middle of the night. You kind of worry
Yeah.
about that a little bit, but that
yeah.
hasn't happened. So
When you parked, you said somebody said they parked at Cabela's. Is that part of like the what is the name of, like, you can find parking lots that they will let you actually park there,
Right.
right? Do
Right.
they charge you to park there or no?
No, if it's usually you want to let the manager of the store know, and you usually want to accommodate their business and buy something there. There's also something called Harvest Hosts where you can stay at different places like wineries or farms or dairies and that type of thing. And that's also free. You just have to let the owner know ahead of time, and then it's just common courtesy to buy some yogurt or a bottle of wine or whatever while you're there.
Mm-hmm. So they just list their farm on Harvest
Yeah.
Host if they
Yes.
want to do it. Love that. That is so
Marty
cool.
just turned me on to that. So I've been looking at harvest hosts in our
Yeah.
area. A lot of them are connected to golf courses, Marty. I saw that.
Right. That's true. That's true.
That's pretty.
Yeah.
Um, so how about we talk a little bit about like nutrition and food? What do you do on the road? Do you ever find, are you the type that like packs your van before you go so you have everything you need, you don't have to worry about it? Or do you just go and hope that, places on the side of the road are going to have what you need to feel good?
Well, there's grocery stores everywhere, so you can pick up things along the way. And there's our van doesn't have that much storage, so we don't pack it full of food. But we do take things that we know we're going to need, like seasonings and spices and that type of thing. Things that we know that we're going to use, like the first week, we'll pack. And we eat pretty much the same on the road as we do at home.
Mm-hmm.
So we grill outside or do that type of thing. So it's really no different. Meal planning is no different from being at home.
Mm-hmm.
That's similar with us. We usually take enough for like 3 days of dinners, breakfast, and lunches, but we always try to eat out once a day, just to have a little. Um, got stuck in
Like
my word.
interaction with people.
Break.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's a little bit different than having to cook in your van. There's a little break there. Marty, what you guys eat early, don't you? You have an early.
Yeah, sometimes we call it luncher. It's like between lunch and dinner because it just kind of is a nice break for us from driving all day or just from our activities of the day. So, and that's usually when we do it. We have our meal, we eat lunch late at home anyway. So we'll go and find a luncher somewhere, and you can get same type of food at dinner time, and it's cheaper. Plus you're not, fighting crowds and stuff at the later eating time.
Oh yeah. What is typically the longest trip that you take in one go?
You mean on a day or in one?
No, more like the length of the trip. Like you're gone for 3 months, or like what's the longest you tend to go, and what's the sweet spot?
Well, we've gone for a month, and we left in January, and we got back right before COVID hit. That was 2 years ago, and we did about 4,000 miles, I think. We left here. We went through Nevada, down to Arizona, to Utah, to California, and up. And so it was quite an adventure for us. And on that trip, we tried to connect with people with Parkinson's, and we ended up staying in a lot of people's driveways.
Oh yeah.
So getting invited to, come into the house, they didn't quite understand. This is our home. This is our bedroom. we'd like to sleep out here, but we want to engage with you. So
Yeah. They probably like don't know, but then they're like, oh, this is brilliant. I love this. Guests without guests in the house. What about you, Marty? I know you have a big trip coming up.
We have a 4-week trip coming out, but our longest trip has been, I think, about 2 months, where we went. We have family in Illinois and Tennessee, so that's usually our final destination. Although we stop along the way and make an adventure the whole way across country. But the first year we had the van, we put 12,000 miles on it just in that year because we went back and helped my mother-in-law sell her house in Chicago and spent some time there and explored, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan, all that area. Went down to my sister's in Tennessee and then visited some other family along the way coming back. That's usually our purpose now is connecting with family, but also having fun and visiting national parks. That's our big goal, is to go to all the national parks at some point.
How many are there in the US?
I don't even
Don't know.
Not
You need to
sure.
have your list so you can start crossing them off.
We have we've been to 17. I want to say there's like, I know there's 31 or something, but I think there's got to be
Okay.
more.
That's pretty close. What, how long do you typically go in one day? And I think Marty, it was you that were talking about some of the things that you have in your van to kind of keep you moving and keeping your hands going and that kind of stuff. Was that you that was talking about that?
Right. Yeah. Well, my husband's a driver because I feel a little bit intimidated driving a longer, heavier vehicle. But he said I'm going to drive through Kansas this time because he can't make many mistakes on a long, open freeway or interstate. We usually drive 6 to 7 hours a day. This will be our first long trip without a dog. We lost our dog about 1.5 years ago, and we made a lot of stops along the way for him. And we stopped earlier. So this time we'll go a little bit further, but it's usually miles or time. And it usually ends up being about 300, 400 miles a day.
Mm-hmm.
I stay busy with, I do puzzles and read and navigate. That's a big deal. I do some stitching, that type of thing. Just keep my husband from getting bored. Those things. Yeah.
What about you, Carol?
to keep busy, I do a lot of reading out loud. It keeps my voice active too. And and here comes Charlie, so we'll have to stop for a second here. He's bringing me coffee. He does this every morning.
Oh,
when I'm home.
Come stick your head in, Charlie.
hi, Charlie.
Hello.
He always
We're
wonders.
not cutting this out. This is the fun part.
Okay, so what were we talking about? I'm sorry.
Like what you do when
Oh.
when Charlie's driving. What are you doing?
Okay. So I do some sketching, and I navigate also.
Mm-hmm.
And I usually find some place to stay that night. We're not quite as well planned as Marty is. We have a general location. Sometimes we're planned ahead if we think it's going to be a populated place.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes we just take a chance and find a place to stay.
I'm a little more risk averse. I like to have everything planned out. That's just my nature. My husband would just go and find a space.
Go. Yeah. What is some of, like, maybe share a story or two that is just sort of represents why you love doing this kind of camping and traveling.
We went to Yellowstone in September a couple of years ago, and it was warm, and we arrived there and got to our spot in a beautiful place right outside of Yellowstone, and woke up the next morning and there was snow everywhere. It was about 4 inches of snow all over we were towing a vehicle at that time with a different type of RV, and our dog had never ever been in snow before, so that was fun. That was probably the nicest thing to wake up to in the morning.
Total surprise. Total surprise.
In September, anyway.
Yeah. What about you, Carol? What's a memorable story?
One story is we were traveling across Colorado, and we stopped in a small town. I'm not sure where it was. And I have some stickers on my windows that denote that I have Parkinson's. And a gentleman came up and engaged in conversation with me. And it was so fascinating to talk to him. Being in the small town, he didn't have many connections.
Mm.
And he said he was driving home, saw our van, and just decided to take a chance and come and talk to me. And that was really meaningful to me and to him too.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's crazy, right? Yeah. I bet you get to see a lot of uh, towns that are not as well resourced as where you are living, for sure. What is some advice? Like, let's say somebody's watching this right now and they are interest is piqued. What are some pieces of advice you would offer? Is this something that people can like rent Class B vans and try it out, or would you recommend that? Like, what are
I think so, especially if you've never done this type of traveling before. It's really easy to rent various types of RVs to see what you like, what works best for you. You don't want to jump in like we did and buy the big, huge beast that we did.
Yeah.
And you can find out if it's worth investing for you, because it is a big investment to purchase an RV. And knowing the lifestyle is different, it's not for everyone. Not everybody likes being outside or camping or, cooking outdoors, that type of thing. And so you need to really figure out if it's the right thing for you and if it's going to fit your lifestyle, if it's going to fit your abilities and your ability to travel.
Yeah.
I
Carol?
agree. I would really investigate a lot. I studied every camper van that there was. We traveled to RV lots and looked at them. Was watching this one for quite a while as the price was dropping on it, and then we finally purchased it. But yeah, some people don't like to be in a small place. Changing your clothes, it can be kind of hard sometimes without a lot of room. This kitchen area, this galley here is pretty narrow, and so to cross at the same time, one person has to move to the other person, or if you want to get in the bathroom while somebody's cooking, you have to think about things like that, if that's going to bother you, or if you're okay with it.
Mm-hmm. What sort of symptoms do you have that are maybe the most challenging to travel in this way?
Mine would be rigidity and stiffness in the morning. It's the way ours is set up. We have a big king size bed that folds out from a couch in the back, and getting out of that up and to the end of the bed to go to the bathroom in the morning or just get moving up in the morning is a little bit challenging. Just the mechanics of that, and then sitting and traveling all day makes you stiff. So I have some strategies to try to move and keep active during the day to keep from getting stiff. That's my biggest challenge.
And I'm very similar to Marty in that I'm pretty stiff too in the morning, and to scoot down to the end of the bed and flip your feet down, um, it's pretty
Like,
hard.
you don't have room on the sides of your bed, right?
It goes
Yeah.
to the edge of the
Yeah.
van.
Yeah. So, and I have a bit of a tremor, and so if I'm trying to work with something small, that would be difficult too for me. But generally, I get along really well with my camper van.
That's good. And hopefully Charlie.
Sometimes.
What are some things that are, you just notice are noticeably better when you're out in the world and going on your adventures?
Oh, I would say sleep. I sleep so much better on the road. And I don't know why that is. Maybe it's because my schedule is more disciplined because I can't stay up later than my husband, because we're in tight quarters. So
Yeah.
I go to bed on a regular schedule and wake up early and we get going. So my sleep is definitely better.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Anything for you, Carol?
my attitude is better. Not that I have not a positive attitude anyway, but it's just like it's being outside and seeing things that are new. And you could take me down to a place I'd been 1,000 times, and I'd be excited about being there, just to be, out of the ordinary of everyday life, and just seeing new things. It really encourages me and brings me up.
Yeah. Let's end with the thing you are most excited to see this summer, based on your travel plans. What is the sort of maybe one location or object or person or whatever that you're most excited about this summer?
Well, on our next trip, we're going to do a lot of different things. This is our train trip. We're going to take the train into the Grand Canyon, which is kind of corny and touristy to do, but we're going to do that. Then we're going to go to Durango and take this train up into the Cascade Canyon, I guess. And so that should be fun. And then the last train thing is Colorado Springs. We're going to go up towards Pikes Peak. So our train adventure will be fun. And then seeing our family, because we haven't seen them in 2 years or so. So that'll be fun.
Nice. Carol.
We're just planning right now a trip to the Grand Tetons in September to see the beautiful trees. And what's fun about this one is my brother, who we haven't seen much of in the past several years, is going to meet us. And so we're going to have a kind of a family get-together while we're traveling.
Nice.
One other thing we're doing is we're not going far, but we're taking our grandson to Disneyland and camping there for a couple of days. That'll be exciting.
That's super fun. How old is your grandson?
He's 13. He still likes with us, so we're going to take advantage of that while we can.
Absolutely.
The interesting thing is we can only take 2 people in this van. So that is good, because in our pickup camper arrangement, we could take 6 people. And so we always ended up with extra family and stuff. And so now it's just Charlie and I.
You're like, you have to ride next to us if you want to come. That's good. Well, thank you both so much. I hope that you're open to, if people want to reach out with any questions, if they're interested in trying it out, or maybe they have tips that they want to share as well, because they're camper van travelers as well. So thank you both so much. I'll put the link, and we have all those really fun pictures to share with everybody too. So thanks for sharing your stories. And if anybody wants to talk to us about camping, let us know, and maybe we can get a little group together. Thank you so much.